Hi, I'm Peter from Coffee Parts, and today we're looking at the evolution of the Olympia Cremina from the original 67 model to the current model which came out in 2011. So New York Times voted this the best espresso machine in the world, and when you first look at it, it's a very expensive little metal box, quite brutalist and minimalist in design. But once you get to own one and play with one, you really understand why they have such a cult following, why so many magazines like the New York Times have voted this the best espresso machine in the world, and why they just get so many raving reviews. But first things first, let's jump in and make a coffee on a 2011 model. We cycled through 2 cups of water just to normalize the temperature, and we've loaded the portafilter with 14 grams of coffee. It is quite finely ground, which will make it nice and slow. It will also make it a little bit harder to pull the lever from this angle. Lifting up the lever, it is a direct lever system. So when you lift it up, you're basically allowing water to come in and pre-infuse the coffee. Normally I like to give it around 10 seconds on the lever. You can go a lot longer, or till you start seeing a drip come out of the spout. On previous machines, I have put a gauge up on top of the lever to know what pressure I'm pulling. But normally if you're going over 6 bars, the machine does want to tip forward a little bit. It might want to do that today. There is something really cool about levers, is how quiet they are. And once again, this angle is probably not the best angle to be using the machine. You'd normally be in front. Just pulling that. There's something amazing about levers. That crema's really thick. I can't explain it. I've always had a thing for levers, so. It really is a nice coffee. A little bit on the hot side. I don't think I cycled through enough water, but the whole user experience of a lever is just magical. So now, what are the differences between the 2011 and the original 67? Well, there's a few things that have happened over the years, but it's been an evolution rather than a revolution. If you look at them, they look quite similar. The heads haven't remained almost identical, but now you do see a longer lever with a bigger handle, and also a bigger handle on your portafilter. And that's because we tend to be grinding finer and going a lot more pressure to give you that extra leverage. You'll also notice on the newer models, they now have a gauge that shows you the pressure of the boiler, which can be correlated to effectively temperature. You know that depending on which pressure range, what rough temperature range you are running at, presuming you have flushed the group head. Now on both models, before you make coffee, it is good to just give the group head a flush to normalize that temperature. On the 2011 model, a big change was a lot larger boiler and also a newer pressure stat than you got on the 67. And on top of the boiler, although the knobs here look the same, on the new model it's got an anti-vacuum valve inside, which gets rid of that false pressure reading that you do get on the original models. The switch has also been moved from the front to the side, but you still have the light indicating whether the element is running or not. And minor little thing, but the feet have gotten taller and it's lost its badge on the back. And now that sounds crazy, but I really find that the badge, that vintage look, really suits the Olympia. And on a final note, the last change is the top here, where if you're pouring water in here and you failed, you kind of got a catchment for the water when you're filling the boiler. On the 2011 model, it comes with a funnel, so you're meant to use a funnel to fill it. I tend to use a gooseneck kettle, which does the same job, basically not going to spill water. In terms of performance, they are very similar. You do get a little bit better temperature stability and the ability to make more coffees in a row in 2011 due to the larger boiler and newer pressure stat. But effectively, they produce very, very similar results. If you are getting an older model, just remember that models pre-1982 did have some asbestos in the seals. But if you bought a machine that's professionally rebuilt or rebuilt by an enthusiast, that's more than likely been handled already. One cool thing about both these machines is just how quiet they are. Apart from that heating up and that gurgling sound of the water basically heating and moving inside that boiler, they are dead silent. When you're pulling a shot, it really is an experience. Just pulling that quietly and just being at one with the shot. I've mentioned this in the video of the 67, but to me, this kind of feels like a Porsche 911, where over the years, there's been an evolution. The design has remained very similar, yet more modern. And it's just a classical piece that feels it really is made to last a lifetime. And now I really get why the New York Times voted it the machine it did. But I've got a question for you. Which of these two machines do you prefer? Which of these two do you have? Do you have an Olympia Cremina? Or do you have another lever, like the La Marzocco Lever X, the Pavoni, San Marco, Londinium? Let me know in the comments below. And like always, if this video has brought you value, hit that thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. See you on the next video. Thank you.